You ever have a day so wild it makes you question every boring thing you ever believed about life? Yeah, that was me. The morning my legs came back to life after 2 decades of being stuck in a chair, watching my world get smaller and meaner with every year. But you know what's crazier? The thing that got me out of that chair wasn't some fancy new surgery or millions of dollars thrown at doctors who shook their heads and called it impossible. No, the thing that changed everything was a little girl in a pink coat, screaming my name while a mob threatened to crush her for a miracle she never asked for. I can still feel the slap of December air as I pushed through my front door first time I'd stepped outside in months. Legs shaking, but holding me up with a power I hadn't known since I was young and cocky and thought nothing could break me. The street outside my gate was chaos, like some kind of revival meeting crashed into a press circus and nobody bothered to tell the cops. People chanting, cameras flashing, desperate parents waving photos, all of them shoving toward this one tiny spot where Sophia, the kid who'd given me back my hope, was about to be swallowed whole by their need. And here's the kicker, right? All my life, I've been the kind of guy who solved problems with money or lawyers, kept my hands clean, and my feelings quieter than a church on Monday. But when I saw Sophia's hand disappear under that crowd, something snapped. You know what I mean? I didn't care about the money, the headlines, the lawyers, or the rules. I just knew I wasn't going to let the only person who ever believed I could be more than a broken old man get hurt, because the world was starving for something it couldn't buy. Next thing I know, I'm in the middle of a fight not with fists, at first, but with words, lawyers shouting about settlements and fraud, my ex-wife showing up like she was waiting for her chance to collect on my resurrection. You ever see someone smile at you with eyes so cold it gives you goosebumps? That was Caroline, standing there with her high-priced attorney, ready to snatch back every cent the court gave her when I was nothing but a hopeless case. "If you can walk, you can pay," she said, and I swear I almost laughed at the absurdity of it all. But the real twist, the thing that nobody in that crowd was expecting, was that I'd finally run out of patience for everyone's games. When Richard, that shark of a lawyer, tried to serve me papers while Sophia was lying somewhere in that mass of bodies, I did something I never thought I'd do. I knocked him flat on his back. Yeah, that happened. I felt a kind of freedom in that moment, not because I hit a guy, but because I was done letting anyone else write my story. So I pushed through, people grabbing at me, begging me to heal their families, telling me their tragedies like prayers, but all I could see was Sophia, this fragile, broken little miracle in a pink coat, blood trickling down her forehead, eyes finding me through the chaos. I picked her up, and I swear time stopped. She smiled at me, the weakest little smile, and whispered, "You're standing." And I lost it, right there in front of everyone, because I knew everything good that was left in me came from her believing in me. It should have ended there, a happy Hollywood moment, but real life isn't that neat, is it? Caroline and her crew blocked my way, legal threats flying, FBI agents flashing badges and accusing me of faking a miracle for money, even as this kid in my arms was slipping in and out of consciousness. The world wanted a miracle they could own, explain, put on TV, and sell for ad time. But all Sophia wanted was to love, to believe, to give someone hope. And in that sea of angry, desperate faces, I finally found my voice. You want your money? Take it. You want to investigate fraud? Fine, look at me. I spent 20 years stealing from myself, robbing myself of hope, locking myself in a prison of my own making. The crowd went silent, like they suddenly realized they weren't spectators to a show, but part of something bigger, something messy and raw and real. That's when the second twist hit, not some secret power, but an old woman in a wheelchair, crying because she came for a miracle for her grandson and found herself facing the kind of love she thought was extinct. Others started telling their stories, illnesses, loss, heartache. I told them the same thing Sophia told me: love harder, hope more. Miracles aren't magic tricks. They're what happens when people refuse to let go of each other, even when the world says give up. Dr. Winters got Sophia to the hospital. That woman is a force of nature. By the way, and while the crowd tried to figure out what had just happened, I faced down the ones who still wanted a scapegoat or a payday. Medicine can't measure hope, I told them. Science can't explain love. Some things you just have to feel. And for a split second, I think even Caroline understood what she'd lost chasing security instead of something real. At the hospital, Sophia pulled through tougher than anyone expected. I sat by her bed, listening to her laugh with doctors, and for the first time in years, I laughed too. Her mother, Grace, showed up tired, proud, scared out her mind, and seeing her hug Sophia, I saw the whole line of hope stretching back through that family. Turns out, Sophia learned about miracles from her grandma, who raised her on stories about love and impossible things. Miracles happen when people love each other hard enough to believe in magic, Sophia said, like it was the most obvious truth in the world. Weeks passed, and my life flipped upside down, but in a good way for once. I sold the mansion that had become my mausoleum, handed Caroline every penny she demanded, and moved into a neighborhood where people looked each other in the eye and shared what little they had. I set up a foundation in Sophia's name for kids fighting cancer, opened a free clinic, started to actually live instead of just survive. You want a real miracle? Every day I spent with Sophia and Grace, I healed a little more, not just my legs, but my heart, my mind, the parts of me that had been paralyzed long before my accident. 6 months after all that madness, I walked Grace down the aisle at our wedding, Sophia grinning bigger than the sun as she tossed flowers and declared to everyone who would listen that her new daddy was living proof that love can fix anything. I never thought I'd get a second chance, but here I was, surrounded by a community that finally understood hope isn't something you wait for, it's something you build moment by moment, choice by choice. So yeah, maybe you don't believe in miracles. Maybe you think this was all luck, or the power of belief, or some weird medical fluke. I don't care what you call it. What I know is a little girl knocked on my door asking for leftovers and ended up giving me my life back, not just my legs, but my hope, my family, and a reason to wake up every morning believing that tomorrow might just be better than today. Now, let me ask you something before you scroll past or move on. What would you do if a miracle knocked on your door? Would you fight for it? Or would you let fear and cynicism keep you locked up inside yourself? Do you think real healing comes from science or from refusing to give up on each other, even when it seems impossible? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Drop a comment, tell me what you believe about miracles, about love, about second chances. Because I'm telling you, sometimes the wildest, most impossible stories are the ones that remind us the only thing we ever really needed was each other.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình, là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're...